Throughout 2021, we've seen many budget to mid-range smartphones that caters to gamers who don't have a lot of money laying around. We've seen the Poco X3 Pro earlier this year, which gives a lot of performance for its price range. But Realme won't let Poco dominate the budget gaming phone segment. And with that in mind, they decided to launch the Realme Q3S. They released this phone way back on mid-October and it is only available in the Chinese market. But if you want to get this phone, you may check out AHH Xiaomi Manila for the pricing of this phone. Link of the page will be down in the description. For my review unit, I have here the 6128 configuration and you can also get it in 8128GB configuration or 8256GB. For the color, we only have two, which is the Aurora or as they call it, the purple. And yes, this is the color that I have here. Or you can get it in blue color also. Let's stop the talking and get on with the unboxing. After setting up the device, we are greeted by the Realme UI 2.0 running under Android 11. About the Realme UI, I really love the amount of customization it provides and the smoothness of the UI. By the way, for the other people out there still thinks that China ROM phones doesn't have Google, well, you're wrong. Since out of the box, the Realme Q3S has Google pre-installed out of the box. And installing Google Play Store is really easy. And yes, I have a tutorial on how to install Google Play Store on this device that I will be leaving here on the upper right corner of the video on the information card. Its display is a 6.6-inch Full HD IPS LCD panel with a whopping 144Hz screen refresh rate, and its peak brightness is at 600 nits. Realme didn't specify whether or not this display have Gorilla Glass protection. Also on the front is its 16-megapixel selfie camera, which is located on the upper left corner of the display. On the top, we have here its microphone. Here on the right side, we have here its power button, which doubles as the fingerprint scanner. Here on the left, located is its SIM tray, which supports dual SIM, and it has a dedicated slot for the micro SD card for memory expansion. Here we have also the volume rockers, and finally on the bottom is located the 3.5mm headphone jack port, and I think this is the noise cancelling microphone, USB Type-C port, and finally its single firing speaker. For the build, we have here a plastic frame and yes, a plastic back. One thing to note here is the elegant back design of the Aurora, which is really stunning, and it kinda reminds me of the Oppo Reno 6 back Aurora design. It has a rainbow kinda color when light touches it, and it makes this phone shiny and outstanding compared to other smartphones. For the camera, here we have a triple camera setup which shares the same design as the Oppo Reno 6. For the main, we have a 48MP main sensor, and first impressions on the 48MP mode on the main camera is that when comparing it to the Realme Q2 Pro, the one we have right here on the right, and this is the Q3S on the left, when comparing both of them using 48MP mode, first thing we can notice here on the side is that the Realme Q3S has a much grainier photo compared to the less grainy photo on the Q2 Pro. And when moving it here on the Note 11 Mi 11 Lite 5G NE box, here on the writing, you can see that the Q3S has like a white outline around the writings, while the Q2 Pro doesn't see. It seems that it lacks kind of detail compared to the Q3S. But overall, here on the Xiaomi Pad 5 box, you can see that even though this is near from where I am sitting, the Q3S produces more grainier outcome compared to the Q2 Pro. Nevertheless, the Q3S still has a much more sharper image, especially here on the Mi 11 Lite 5G NE writing, as you can see. Here we also have the 2MP macro and the 2MP depth camera. And yes, sadly, Realme didn't put a ultra-wide camera on this thing. For the chipset, we have here the Snapdragon 778 5G, which can give us a lot of power while still being a battery-efficient chipset. For the battery, we have a 5000 mAh battery that can support up to 30 watts charging speed, which can charge up the phone from 0 to 50% in 25 minutes as advertised by Realme. First impressions. There is a couple of things that the phone misses out. 1. The speaker setup. Realme could have putted a stereo speaker setup instead of a single firing one. Second, they missed out on the ultra-wide camera, but personally for me, it's not a big deal since 95% of the time, you'll use the main camera. These things for me isn't that much of a big deal, and Realme missed out on the two things to keep the costs down, since for the price, a Snapdragon 778 5G and the 144Hz screen refresh rate is impossible to achieve without any compromises on other categories of the phone. A gamer like me would really love this phone, especially the performance of the Snapdragon 778 5G and its 144Hz screen refresh rate. Anyways, my video will end here and stay tuned for the full review of this phone. Bye!